Balance of sea power, I believe. Tomorrow morning, Spain and the Spanish, and tomorrow afternoon is a thing about a thing, but I forget what it is.
We'll figure it out tomorrow.
It's things and stuff and
Something about under the sea.
Oh, under the sea.
Under the sea.
I like thing about a thing.
We are not doing HCM the musical.
All right, we're going to rename that class "Thing About a Thing."
I'll dance. I'm not
Well,
going
we know the Lord Secretary can sing from his own show.
Alright then.
I'm still apologising for that.
My apprentice kind of burst into song.
We're there now.
Oh, shall we do the thing?
All right, let's do the thing.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to History, Customs and Manners. I am your host, Pro Tem, Thomas Cromwell, Secretary of State, Chancellor of the Exchequer. To my right.
I'm Emily. Cheesemaker.
Oh, it's Spanish, yeah. Viva la España.
Arriba. And to my right is Lady Lee, and to my right.
Without the road R, I am Pernille Goyle. I am the Sheriff of Roskilde, which is in Denmark. And to my right,
Old Johnny Doo, vagabond bard and storyteller. And to my right is our site. And as I mentioned,
coming fashionably late.
And chastising us for something.
we are indeed, Your Grace.
It's not. It's Lord Secretary's fault.
It is not.
Yes, it was all Master Cromwell.
Excuse me. I do not see
You're
any.
excused.
No respect, Your Grace. I get no respect. I know.
Raise your hand if you agree it was Lord Cromwell's fault.
1 minute early.
Hey, Your Grace, we are one part.
Just for that, move the bench, please.
Ladies
One
and
must
gentlemen,
give
your
respect
host,
to her lady.
Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk.
Hello, the ladies. Thank you.
It is now time.
Aye.
It's time when His Grace says it's time.
Today, my lords and ladies, we're talking about Here There Be Dragons.
Indeed, Here Be Dragons.
We are talking about the areas of the world that are beyond the known.
And those that are in the process of being discovered.
Yes. And as a result of various and sundry things, I am going to sit, as are several of my lovely lady companions.
It's good for you.
In case you are mad or extremely drunk at the moment, I would like to remind you that we are currently in the 1530s. But I'm going to take you back 1,000 years. When the Middle Ages, as you know it, was just beginning, just after the fall of Rome. And in that period, our knowledge of the world is very limited. We know Europe, we know the north of Africa, we know the Near East, and we know those lands which Alexander conquered. The Macedonian, who conquered lands all the way to India. We know of such places. Aye.
Now, I'm simply going to say, we know them, but in most cases, we know them from other tales and other stories.
Indeed.
Even the places that Alexander conquered are almost legendary.
They are tales.
We know the name. We know that in India they're supposed to be dog-headed men, for example.
And again, when we say we know 1,000 years or so ago. All right. There was very little known of the world.
So our world was much smaller then. And we did not look as much beyond our borders, except for those few instances such as the Roman Empire and Alexander the Great's empire, where great lands were conquered. It was mostly your neighbours, the people you traded with. But now, to move the clock forward 1,000 years,
Much has changed.
The world has changed drastically in that time.
And a lot of that change has happened in the last 50 years. We have gone through a burst of exploration. Mankind has circumnavigated the world, or at least one small group of ships has. And we pushed back the realms, we pushed back the darkness that was up until now marked as Here Be Dragons. There are still, however, places that remain shrouded in mystery or in legend.
This is a very exciting time to be alive because the map is being filled in, but there are still parts of it that are empty.
And the other thing to remember is that we do not have anything, as you do, to take visual imagery. So many of the things that we know are by description. Then we have very talented men try to create drawings based upon those descriptions.
Interpretation.
And what we end up with are things that are terrifying to look at. One of the great descriptions that comes out of the deepest, darkest worlds of the Africas is the description of the great southern beast, which is, as you would know them, we would call it an ape. You would call it a gorilla. In our pictures and in our minds, they are massive, 6, 7, 8, 10 feet tall. They are giants.
Ooh, those are pretty.
They have massive, huge forms, long, sharp, venomous fangs.
So the accuracy may vary, but we have heard of their existence long before science will ever codify something.
And in some cases, these discoveries merely confirm some of our own native legends. For example, that description that his Grace just gave actually sounds remarkably, resembles remarkably some of the descriptions of some of the creatures
that we believe
live
in here.
The large men,
the wild men, who
the
wood
live in
wolves.
forests. Another thing that's come to, we've known about for a while, but again, there are wildly varying descriptions of dragons. Now, dragons we know for a fact used to roam the earth. We see their bones, but people will come back with drawings and interpretations and descriptions of things that sound very much like dragons. They might be young dragons,
or they might be a particular type of dragons, because we know there are various kinds.
In the Nile, for example.
Yes, the Nile River, there are many dragons, and those dragons are often used, they are captured or killed, and their oil is used for the purposes of anointing kings.
There was one that was brought to England, what you would know as a crocodile, and it was kept at the Tower of London, where there is a menagerie, a royal menagerie, the beginnings of a zoo, as it were, and it escaped into London,
causing mass chaos,
and is running and swimming in the Thames and attacking people.
Can you imagine? That's not what you expect to see in London.
They hire dragon killers, dragon hunters, to come in and slay the beast.
There's actually one small one here.
Yes, there's a budding one here.
Yes.
Village. So again, dragon hunters, my lords and ladies. This is not myth
It's
anymore.
a valid career path.
If not a wise one.
However, there is a problem for things like dragons, is that civilization is ever encroaching. 1,000 years ago, they would have told you that giants and griffins and hippogriffs and dragons and that sort of thing were just around the corner.
Right.
But as our world expands, they get pushed further and further on the horizon to places that we didn't know. Well, that's of course where they must be. Because their bones, as was said a moment ago, have been found. There are reptilian bones that are found all over Europe that have become stone. And that is perhaps natural assumption as to what they might be.